Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, amazing people all around the world of crypto and blockchain. And today I have another amazing guest because, well, how do I know? I met him before. I interviewed this man back in June 2024. It was an amazing conversation, and I look forward to speaking with him again. I have the founder of Intuition. His name is Billy Luedtke. Billy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me once again. I'm excited to kick it off. Let's do it.
Awesome, awesome. So let's yeah. I asked you first. I asked everybody the same question. You're gonna get the same question a second time. But what is your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, it's actually very serendipitously logical. The pieces just kind of keep seeming to align. So I'll start from the beginning. So in undergraduate, I studied in industrial and systems engineering, and my first ever job was working on this decentralized seismic network at Caltech with the United States Geological Survey Office. So didn't expect, that to be my intro. I didn't expect an introduction to distributed systems back then, but I got involved in distributed systems super early. And then I moved over to Ernst and Young, where I was a financial services technology consultant. So the seismic network stuff was in 2012, and then E&Y was 2013. And I just got a peek behind the curtains of all the biggest financial institutions in the world and was like, oh my God, I thought you guys had your stuff together, and this is actually totally unsalvageable. So I, because of all of those things, like I was an engineer, distributed systems, financial services tech, it kind of like perfectly aligned for me to understand crypto very early. So I've been in crypto since 2012. I've been involved with Ethereum since the beginning. March of 2014, I was at a party. It was a MIT hacker house in San Francisco, and we were just talking about crypto, and the white paper had kind of just recently come out, and he explained it to me, and I literally immediately got obsessed. So yeah, I've been just bullish Ethereum since the very beginning, and then helped start the blockchain consulting practice at Ernst& and Young, where I was kind of their tech lead for a while, and then moved over to Consensus, where I was full-time for 5 years, special advisor for 3 years. And one of the things that I was doing back in 2014, 2015 was working when I was still at E&Y. I was working on decentralized identity primitives because we were like, oh, for banks, it's kind of ridiculous that you kind of have to KYC every time you sign up for a new bank, or even different branches. So like if you move countries, you move from like the US to somewhere in Europe, and it's just like a different branch of the same bank. You got to go through the whole process again. We're like, okay, like this is kind of stupid. Like, what if, let's just tackle KYC first. What if, you KYC'd once, and then you could just pass that verifiable credential to anyone you're going to kind of authenticate with, and you don't have to go through the rigmarole every single time. So we started working on that at the very beginning, which led me to like the founding meetings of the Decentralized Identity Foundation, which led me to meet the Uport team, which was like the first kind of self-sovereign identity thing being built on Ethereum back in 2015, 2016. Ended up working with them. I was their enterprise lead. And then I've just, once you dive down the decentralized identity, verifiable data rabbit hole, it's very hard to look away. It's kind of like crypto. Most people don't venture down the rabbit hole, so there's only like a handful of people who understand this stuff. But once you do, it's like, oh my God, this is so obvious. And I thought that this was going to be a precursor to all the coolest stuff that we built in crypto. We kind of circumvented it. We've got permissionless DeFi, we had NFTs, but I think to really unlock the beauty of permissionless composable innovation of crypto, you kind of need these identity primitives. So that's kind of what intuition is rooted in. It's kind of the next evolution and generation of attestation infrastructure. And I won't bore people with it right now, but if we want to dive into like what that means, I'm happy to later. But yeah, so basically my whole career has kind of been leading up to this moment. And then the final piece of the puzzle that made me start intuition, um, there was kind of two things. Maybe I'll just mention one of them because I probably mentioned the other one last time. Basically, I got super early access to the beta version of ChatGPT, and it was scarily sentient to me. And for like 2 weeks, I couldn't wait to get home and kind of talk to this AI. And then all 2 weeks later, it was so dumb. And I was like, oh my God, you guys throttled it. Like, so I was like, oh my God, this is what's coming. Like you guys are just kind of like holding back. Like I saw behind the curtain for this 2 week period and I saw how crazy it was. And this was, 5 years ago, maybe more. And it was like, oh my God, this is absolutely insane. And so my thought is, or it was, and still is I view the AI as kind of the collective conscious. Like we're just aggregating all of our knowledge into like one thing and all of our reasoning. And I just view it as kind of an entity. And if you think about building an entity, I'm like, oh, like what modules does that entity need? It's like, oh, it needs the intuition module. Like it like that's what's missing is like humanity's intuition and kind of like a more holistic view of our inner state because what it's capturing right now is kind of our expression on these platforms that are very much filtered by the platforms. It's like when I'm on Twitter, I'm playing the Twitter game, and when I'm on Instagram, I'm playing the Instagram game. It's not actually me, like all of my internal thoughts and opinions. I'm like, okay, we got to get more of people's like actual thoughts out there. Otherwise, it's going to be crazy because we know that those algorithms are kind of optimizing for the wrong things. And so the picture that the AI has of us, it's like not actually us, it's us online right now, which is kind of crazy. So all of those things kind of led me to start intuition a couple years ago.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, you mentioned X, and I like talking to Ethereum guys because, but then I talk to the Bitcoin guys, like, okay, price go up,
That's it.
price go,
Yeah,
price
yeah.
go up, roar.
Orange coin, good.
Yeah, orange go. I told the Ethereum guys, well, the price goes up because X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, and let's from this angle, it's L, M, and O. But like that is so technical that is not get captured by the algorithms, right? Only price go up, roar gets captured. So is it capturing, like, are we capturing the right intuition? Is the intuition based totally on dopamine? Is it popularity? And if it's popularity, are you really collecting the wisdom of the crowd?
Exactly. That's the whole point is I don't think we are. I think and the scariest part is it's also recursive where, like the algorithm's optimized for X, Y, and Z. We start behaving in that way. Algorithm keeps getting trained in that way, and then we just get stuck in these echo chambers where then the algorithms keep propagating more and more. I call it slop. I think people are starting to use it. It's just like it's just slop, and the slop is kind of self-perpetuating. And I just we're like very much trending down this path, and it's really not good. And so there's very simple examples of like you know truth not being the truth of things not being captured by the AI. And you can extrapolate this out to the extreme, but I'll just frame it with like something super simple. So for instance, like why you need more better information for the AI to ingest. Well, right now, it's scraping the whole web. It's being trained on like the whole data set that's out there. And so it was a while ago. They've patched some of the stuff, but you start to see the cracks in it occasionally. And a couple months ago, it was like people were asking, I forget which AI it was, but one of the major ones, and they were like, "Hey, like, what should I do to solve this ailment?" And it was like, "Oh, you should probably kill yourself," because it was like ingesting sarcasm from Reddit as like the actual truth. So like that, is pretty crazy. And then one thing I have to mention, which is a little bit tangential to what you said, but it's so crazy, and people need to know about this. So there's a research report done recently where they trained one AI to love owls, like the bird. All it knew was if it loved owls, and then they trained another AI to only be good at math. It only knew math, and then they had them converse for a while to train each other, and all they could talk about was math. They couldn't talk about owls. They couldn't talk about anything else. Like they just solved math problems together. And at the end of it, the math AI walked away loving owls somehow. And so if you think about us as like these malleable meat things, it's like think about how much we're being influenced subliminally. Like we don't even know it. And I also heard that there's specific words that AI are like intentionally omitting, so we kind of forget about them. And so if you think about this recursive pattern, like not only is the AI ingesting slop, not only does it not have like a good holistic picture of who we are, but recursively, we are being trained by it, whether or not we know it. And that's quite dangerous because it's kind of this like race to the bottom where, we could end up in maybe it's already idiocracy, but we're like trending more and more in that direction.
How do we clean up the slop?
We got answers. So that's where I mean it's gonna be a gargantuan effort. Like I don't think that we have the silver bullet for everything. It's like everyone needs to think about this. That's why, I try to preach it as much as possible, but we have some answers. So how we're approaching the tackling of the slot problem is it's multifold. So the first thing that you need is you need these decentralized identity and verifiable data primitives that I talked about earlier. So right now, the way that the internet works is you have platform specific identifiers for people. So every new application you sign up for, you create a new account for that context, and then you generate data and reputation that only lives in that context. So I can't take my 5-star Uber reputation and rent an Airbnb, or I can't take my 20-year reputation with Bank of America and open a Wells Fargo account. And I also can't overlay the Reddit comments with, who this person is, like their LinkedIn credentials or their reputation across platforms. So the first thing we got to do is have like internet identity, like at the layer of the internet. So it's like, okay, even if you're posting on Reddit, like who is doing this posting? We need to know a little bit more whether or not this source is credible. And so it's like the credibility of sources and then verifiable attribution. It's like, okay, who is this person? And then did they actually say it? So that's the other big thing is deep fakes and things like that, where, we don't have proof that, X, Y, and Z person actually published something. And then the AI is so good now, it all looks real. And so it's very scary if we don't know, like, if there's not provable authenticity of who said the thing or who posted the thing. And so combining these like internet level identity and reputation primitives with the fact that we all have self-sovereign private keys now. Like the proliferation of crypto is really good in that regard, where everyone's got wallets and the wallet UIs are really good now. And so, before the wallets came about, it was really hard to like sign stuff with private keys. But now everyone, whether or not they know it, they've got their own identities, like their own digital identifiers that are owned by no one. They own it themselves and they can sign stuff with it. So instead of just signing on-chain transactions, what if you could sign everything you do on the internet? So that's an attestation, is just you signing stuff with something that's totally owned by you. So like when you go to post to Reddit, it's like, oh, just sign it. It doesn't cost you anything. You just like do a digital signature and it's like, okay, we know that this thing came from this person and then this thing or like this entity and then this entity has this reputation. So, and then I think that's one method for cleaning up the slop that we're taking. So there's a bunch more. I'm happy to keep going down this tack, but I want to pause there just in case there's any comments or questions thus far.
So, I mean, I'm thinking like I like the idea of like having an X identity, but then tying it to like LinkedIn and Facebook and all these other places. Because I don't know if you've been following this drama on X with MEXC exchange
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
the white whale about like him having 50,000 followers, whatever, and like them holding his money. Like you don't know the guy's name. The CEO is new. They're trying to appease all these anonymous accounts online. I don't think it's going well. How do you get an audit report in front of people that ties people's identities together and they say, okay, make an assessment like this is like who are you chasing after to make happy? Like
Yeah.
how do you fix that? you
Yeah.
know
That's a huge, I mean, you can look at that. There's a bunch of examples of like, do we actually need to make these people happy? So the biggest thing is for me, like that's a really good example you just provided. Another one is airdrops. So what you see a lot of times in the ecosystem is like projects getting bullied into giving tokens into people who really don't deserve them and are going to do no good for the project, especially because the biggest farmers are these simple farms. They've got, they don't just have hundreds of thousands of crypto accounts, they have hundreds of thousands of Twitter accounts. And so if you do something wrong, it looks on Twitter like, oh my God, everyone hates these people. But actually, it might be like three dudes who are just like trying to coerce you into giving them more tokens. And so we absolutely need this. Like, the problem is extremely rampant in this world of crypto where we have pseudo anonymity or pseudonymity. And so like I think, you obviously don't want to reveal everything all the time. So you need like privacy is a huge concern here, especially when you're dealing with people. But like using the latest ZK tech, you can like ZK link stuff together and then ZK prove stuff. So it's like, okay, we have like reasonable certainty that this is actually one guy, not 100,000 guys. And we actually like did that for our airdrop. Like we went to the extreme and kind of did some extreme civil hunting, and it's like, oh my God, like somehow these people are making it through. We did these Athena checks where it's like, oh my God, like they somehow have access to, they're very sophisticated, but like if you just analyze the behavior, it's like, oh, this is the same guy. And but then the question becomes, where do we publish that? In a discoverable place? Because 50 other projects might have done these civil checks, but there's no like communal knowledge base where they can publish it so other projects can be aware, like, hey, these are the civils, you got to watch out for these guys. And so that's kind of what intuition is in part to me, which is like this big forum that's like decentralized, where you can post heavy data like that, where it's like, okay, now that we've done this check, we can create like a known Sybil list on intuition. And then everyone can just like very easily discover that and look at it for themselves if they want to see, okay, this address, like we got to watch out for that one.
I think it's a good idea. So um, yeah. So I want to go back to what you said in the beginning. You said you could dive down into benefits of attestation infrastructure, right? So how would that how does that work, and how did that come into play when we're trying to do these important audits?
So I'm of the belief that, now that we've got these private keys, we should just be signing everything with them. Why not? Like you get this verifiable, what I consider an attestation is literally just signed data. So, in crypto, like we had these ideas very early on in Ethereum days where it was like, okay, you know, right now you're signing, and back then it was, you're signing a Bitcoin transaction, and the only thing you could sign is transfer Bitcoins to another person. Ethereum came along and it's like, oh, we could sign anything. We can build arbitrary smart contract logic and just like programatize all of it. So, okay, what if we could, sign arbitrary data or like an arbitrary message? Like one of the other first things we worked on was just like messaging, text messages. It's like, oh, like I just want to send message to you. An attestation is really just like something claiming something about something. So if I claim like the Hipster podcast is awesome, that's an attestation if I sign it with my private key. Like in my mind, like that's a verifiable attestation. Like, and a like of a tweet is you attesting that you like the tweet. Commenting on something is you attesting to whatever you're saying in the comment. Scrolling on a website, the website could attest, hey, this person scrolled on the website. Or a page view. Like everything can be viewed from the lens of an attestation. And I think this is like a very important primitive for the internet. The problem is the attestation standards thus far, and the ones that I worked on for a long time, everyone's very focused on these one-to-one, very simple deterministic attestations. So for instance, like a passport. So it's like US government attests this is your passport, or, bank attests you have KYC. And then what you can then do once you have that is, if the counterparty that, like, let's say you want to authenticate into a platform, the platform can say, hey, can you send me the attestation from the government proving that you have this passport? You can do that right now, but you don't need intuition. Like those very simple flows where it's just like, the counterparty, you know what you're looking for. It's very simple. We solve that. There's a lot of companies that do that pretty well. What we want to do with intuition, and this is like what we set out to do since the very beginning, is wield this like hammer to hit more things. So like expand the use cases of attestations and decentralized identity. So basically, the current specs aren't really good for subjective stuff. Like I like this wallet, or I'm gonna follow this person. That's not subjective, but like, I could say I trust this person this amount. They're not the spec is not good when you want like lots of different unknown data points from lots of different people. So instead of just like one attestation like the passport, let's say you have a million attestations to create the reputation of someone. the data right now is really hard to work with. Like we were trying to work with it and build like a query layer on top, but it's just too fragmented, and it's just like almost unsalvageable, just like the big banks are unsalvageable. And it's like, oh, we need to do things a little bit differently, lower down the stack so that the data is like maximally usable. So that's what we do. Like we introduce this new attestation primitive that's really good for kind of many to one attestations. So, like let's say people want to follow you. Instead of each follow being like a new attestation, and then you have 10,000 followers and it's each its own like JSON object, it just which is so messy because they might use different schemas. It's just unreconcilable. Now you have like one follow at just it's like I follow Jamil. And then it's like, okay, I just look at that one and I see how many people are saying it at the same time. It's like, okay, like I can just it's much more easily traversable because we kind of build this attestation graph. Um, too technical. I won't keep going down that path, but that's like one piece of what we do. And the other piece is going back to how do we combat the slop is no one's making attestations about things. So I've never written an Amazon review. I've never written a Yelp review. I've never done a LinkedIn endorsement. Yeah, I do 5 stars on Uber every time because I don't care. And most people are not doing these things. Like it's like over 99% of people are actively contributing to these data sets. And then that's the data that we use every day to make decisions. That's the data that the AI is ingesting. And so how do we get people, okay, now that we have the attestation infrastructure, how do we get people wanting to do it? Because no one's doing it. I don't think there's a single person out there making peer-to-peer attestations, zero. And so our thought is, okay, what if you financialized it? Because especially in crypto, people have limited time and energy and attention, and they want to make money. They like, and if they can make money over here, or they can like play with cool tech over here, most of them are gonna like go to where they can probably make money. So our thought is like, okay, what if we marry the two, where you play with the cool tech, but you can also make money? So for instance, example I gave before of the liking of the YouTube video, that's an attestation. So let's say we replace the like button on YouTube with an intuition attestation. Like all these things are on these bonding curves using our trust token. And so let's say you're the 100th like, and then a million people like the video after you. You make money from like each subsequent like. So now you're incentivized to go out and find like claim useful truths about things. It's not just like a fun cool tech thing. Now it's like, oh, you can make money by claiming useful things about things early.
I like that. I like that. More people will get involved then, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, we hope.
But I'm also thinking that, say, the linking becomes non-binary. Let's say it's not one to it's like, okay, something happened here. We tie it back to this path, to that path. How would that help with the solving of cybercrime?
Oh man, I think it will help to like the question is not how much will that help? I think it will help too much. I think the risk is that we have to make sure that we like very quickly introduce these privacy primitives. So it's like you can't correlate too much. But like that's, you know, in the current state, it I think it totally combats it. So super simple example of how let's take the context of crypto because cyber crime is like it's a wide thing. So crypto scams all the time. Scammers at literally every step of the way. There's scammers everywhere. So let me think of how to frame this. But basically, like now you have this data that's not platform specific, correlated with non-platform specific identifiers. So anywhere you go on the internet, you can kind of have community notes for the whole internet. So it's like you go to a website, it's like, oh, is this a phishing link? Well, over here on the right is the Intuition browser extension with all the comments about this website. It's like, oh, okay, like this is a scam. Or, it's been flagged by this party as like definitely a scam. Or like, hey, this is definitely the right MetaMask website. Like you can just have like, community notes over here on the side. See what the people you trust are saying about things. You can also put that in a wallet. So like some people on the MetaMask team, they're building this like MetaMask integration. So like when you go to transact with an address, it's like, what do the people I trust say about this address? And the people could be an auditing company. So it's like, okay, Consensus Diligence has audited this thing. Or, my friend really likes this protocol. And this is definitely or Uniswap has claimed that this is an official contract of the Uniswap ecosystem, or my friend could attest hey, this is a scam. Don't interact with this one. Like right now, all of that data is kind of captured in these fragmented places. So the scam stuff is captured in the group chats, and you got to like scroll up and be like, oh, like the messy. The audit reports are on GitHub, and then maybe it's linked on the website, and you got to like it's impossible to traverse. So the data is kind of out there, but it's not discoverable like when you need it the most. And so we just want to like put the data right there. Like when you go to interact with stuff, it's like, oh, what does my intuition say about this thing? It's like, oh, my intuition is telling me, this thing is trustworthy or this thing is a scam based on, what all the people or the things that I trust are saying about this.
Yeah, I like it. I like the concept a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see your project succeed. I don't want to see it succeed too much because
Yeah,
then I don't want to
for sure.
oh, back in 1995, this guy went to the club and this is what he did, and I was in a blackout. I don't want to know
Totally.
that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but
That's the risk. Yeah, we gotta make sure that that doesn't happen, so it doesn't become a Black Mirror episode. But like, there's a lot of good, and I think if we just do it correctly, which we have like clear line of sight to doing, it just there's so much that gets unlocked with this. I think it just like kind of needed right now.
yeah, I think so. But let's go back to the concept. You said people want to make money. Well, I don't talk much about price, although this season I've talked a little bit more about price. But the prices are down over in October, and then I opened up my CoinGecko app today, and I looked at the price is really down, and I'm like, well, Barron Trump made $190 million, but no one else did. So you know, we look at that, under this Trump presidency, like, and you're pushing the boundaries of like user sovereignty. How does that notion of self sovereignty and user sovereignty differ today during the Trump presidency than it did under the Biden, you know, regime?
That's a really good question. I think I won't like frame it into US political regimes, but I'll frame it as like global regimes. So I think the best example is kind of what's happening in like the UK, where it's like, oh, you say something on Twitter and then you go to jail. Like that's kind of crazy. Or it's just like this police surveillance state thing that scares me. So I really don't want to play into that. Like, even though we're playing at the intersection, and the last thing that I want to do is like accommodate or facilitate this police state thing, um, because it's so scary. And one of the ways that we kind of solve this issue is like, okay, let's extrapolate that example out. So uh let's say you do something that Elon doesn't like and he bans you from Twitter, but you spent 10 years building your Twitter following. Like that's your business. He can just take that away. Just like the banks can take away your money or the governments can hyperinflate your currency. Right now, you don't own your digital identity. Like Google could say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have your Gmail anymore." Or like any one of these platforms that we like really rely on, they can just those I like your identity is not owned by you online. Like the companies that you're interacting with own your whole identity, and then sometimes they provision access to you to be able to use it. But at any moment, they can take that away. And so that scares me a lot. Like just like no one should control the money, no one should control your identity and your data. And so I think like that's the most important thing with all of this is like making sure that like these self-sovereign identity principles and primitives are the most important thing. That I think that's what we're doing in crypto is just giving people more agency and giving people more sovereignty. And so we've done it pretty well with the money stuff, but now it's time for the rest of the internet. Like people got trapped into this thought pattern of like, oh, crypto is about money. And it's like, yes, it is, but also the whole internet needs to be decentralized. Like that's the much better way to build all this stuff. And so that's kind of we're like one of the first, I'd say, forays out back into that realm. It happened a lot in the early Ethereum days, but it kind of died because everyone failed. And so now I think it's time to like revive the vision of I want decentralized Google, I want decentralized Wikipedia, I want decentralized Uber and Air, I want decentralized everything. Like no, and I want to interact with it with my identifier, not like something that can be taken away from me at any moment.
Yeah. So this is my first season on YouTube. I've had audios on YouTube last couple seasons, right? At this time, I've always been on Spotify, but the other week I published a podcast that had no ill intent, nothing wrong, and they made a mistake and they gave me a strike.
Oh
And
no.
I'm like, what? You made a mistake. I appealed it. I didn't hear back about the appeal, but I'm like, hey, they can shut me down whenever they feel like it, even though they're making mistakes, right?
Oh,
So how can AI and AI agents offer people ownership? So I own my podcast, right? Over like my data and my history, and the chance to earn in the decentral, like using the AI in a decentralized way, using an AI agent.
yeah. So for the AI data problem, we actually solved that to some extent. Like there's obviously an infinite amount of work to do, but like the AI context is super scary. Like I just keep hitting on like really scary things, but I'll do one more. So it's like, okay, I the convenience of AI is so good that like I am way oversharing in the AI because it's like it's so good. I just want to give you everything, and then you just like make my life so easy. So I think I'm aware of how this tech works, and if I'm doing it, then 99.999% of the world is definitely doing it. Like, and then maybe there's like 0.0001% of privacy-minded folks who are like, oh, I'm gonna like not take advantage of this. So it is so scary in the context of AI when it comes to data sovereignty. Um, and basically, what we've built is it's just the beginning, but like we built this open source MCP server. So what intuition is, like I mentioned before, it's this big attestation graph. So think of like a big map, and then you have your own little map inside the big map. So it's like here's the big brain, and then here's your little brain. So I call it like your intuition. So it's like your second brain. And as you go and do stuff in intuition, your second brain gets built out. So instead of your wallet just controlling money, now your wallet can control information and data. Like when you go to like our Explorer, it's not just tokens anymore. It's like, oh, here's the data that I own. That's pretty cool. So like you retain complete ownership over all your data. And then we like our MCP server lets any AI easily ingest that. So it's like portable context. So what's happening right now is like you're feeding context to ChatGPT and it's starting to personalize responses based on the context you give it. But like that's their moat, and then it's also Anthropic's moat, and it's also Midjourney's moat. It's all like the moat is collecting user data. Honestly, to some extent, there's obviously more moats, but like user data is a big one, and so they're not gonna like I don't think they're gonna let you have this cross-model, cross-platform context. Like, why would they do that? Like, they're not gonna let you just like be like, oh yeah, here's all the secret sauce, extract it, and then bring it to anywhere you want. Like, impossible. Like, so what we have is like now you have self-sovereign data. You can make it private if you want to. You can make it public if you want if you want other people to be able to use it for some reason. And then you can feed that to the AI, any AI model, any like couple lines of code, any developer can integrate with it. And now it's like plugged into your intuition, which is like your self-sovereign portable context that you can bring anywhere. You can bring it to AI, you can bring it to any website. Like one of the things that annoys me the most is like I'll be shopping for like clothes and I have to like be like, okay, I want medium again, and then I want these colors. Like here's the style. It's like I just want a more frictionless web experience. Where like I don't want these platforms to have all the data, but I also want like a very frictionless internet experience, and I don't want to have to fill out the same stuff every single time. I don't want to keep wasting most of my life just filling stuff out on different platforms. And so now you can do it. You can bring like your intuition with you like wherever you go on the whole internet, including AI.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I don't shop too much, but it's coming up on that season where I have to the Christmas time. So, but we'll see, so
Yeah, I mean, I'll like think about, I don't know, if you're not shopping, it's like how many times do you have to prompt the AI and be like, okay, here is the style I want it in. Here's the context of the situation. Like just the friction involved with providing context to anything, regardless of where you are. Like that's what frustrates me. And there's just so much friction there. It's like, I just want to manage my context. I want it to be like, I want to go in and I want like a folder structure. And it's like, okay, tone of voice, yeah, this one. Expertise, okay, yeah, this one. And then, grows over time. And then I can just bring it with me wherever.
awesome. Awesome. I think it's awesome. So I want to thank you very much. I enjoyed this conversation, and time flew by. We
Likewise,
should come
man.
back. You should come back again in the season 10 or 11.
Yeah,
So
anytime. I love this. This is an awesome conversation, man.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
How can people find out more information about you and about intuition?
Of course, yeah. Intuition, you can go to intuition.systems. All the links are there. Our Twitter is 0x intuition. That's kind of where a lot of announcements are posted. And then we got a Discord. The links in also in the on our website. We've got our token generation event coming up on Wednesday. So 2 days from now. I don't know when this is going to get published, but our token is called Trust. We're bringing trust to the internet. That goes live on Wednesday. And yeah, just this is the most important time to be paying attention. So yeah, recommend checking it out if you're interested after hearing this and turning your notifications on. And then I am 0xBilly on Twitter, and that's kind of where I do most of my posting and such.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, sir.